business owner? Entrepreneur? Want to learn how online marketing can improve your business?
Your questions.
Our advice.
This is Not a Real Job.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Not a Real Job, a podcast that is trying to find itself in this crazy world of audio entertainment. I am Chris Van Patten, and I make websites out of New York.
And I'm Joel Kelly, and I am a writer and marketer from Nova Scotia, Canada. That's my jam.
Sounds like a good jam.
I guess. I mean, it's something.
Sure.
Oh, what are we going to talk about today, Chris? On episode 63.
Yeah, we are getting up there in years. I think it's safe to say that we are a geriatric podcast.
We've
reached that point.
Are 63-year-olds geriatric?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I've never met one.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Who could know what they're up to?
Yeah,
all the way up there.
Those olds.
Olds on their roller skates and their
sock hops and
and
bebops and whatnot.
What's the name of those bicycles with the big wheels?
Recumbent bikes.
Penny something?
Recumbent bikes.
No, recumbent bikes are something else.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
And we'll just have to agree to disagree.
Bicycle with big wheel is called a penny farthing.
But that has nothing to do with coins. I'm very confused. Let's talk.
Anyway.
Anywho.
Leave a comment on the website about whether you prefer the penny farthing or the recumbent bike.
I'm pretty sure that you're wrong.
I know I'm not. Okay.
And by pretty sure, I mean, I'm just not going to admit defeat.
Yeah, exactly. You're just not willing to apologize to your better.
Indeed. Wait, what?
Yep.
So we're changing the show a little bit. I guess maybe that's a good place to start as any.
We're tearing it down to build it back up, like you might do with a trusted friend who you believe is living their life poorly. You tear them down, you leave them with nothing, and then you fix them by telling them who they should be instead.
So it's or like training a boxer or
like
something.
Rocky.
Yes, exactly.
Your favorite movie, Rocky.
Still haven't seen it, but I'm gonna make the reference anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay. So you're Mickey, and I'm
Judy.
I was gonna say, am I Adrian then? No, I'm not Adrian. Adrian's cool though. Good character.
I'm just gonna take your word for it.
I have to watch Rocky again. Though we did just watch Rocky 6 again just the other day. So good. Anyway, yeah, so the show I'm not going to say the show needs to change. I think we need to change, Chris. And the show might just evolve as a result of that.
Sure. It's not them, it's us.
I think so. And the problem with us was we thought a marketing podcast was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And that was obviously incorrect.
Well, Before we get too far and explain where we're going, I think I don't know if there is any way to not get ahead of ourselves, but I think there is value in a marketing podcast. And I think that will always be a core component of what we're talking about, but in a different sense than the way that we positioned the show early on. I think the way that we started this was for people who work in marketing or have a small business that they need to market and things like that. And that is a market that is way oversaturated.
Yeah, and it's not the audience that we picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Were people who wanted that podcast. It seems that our audience, certainly the people that send us questions, which of course are the most important audience to us, are not looking for that podcast.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I think at the beginning it was a different story, but I don't think we've been that podcast for a little while. So I think in a sense, this is a strategic realignment, if you'll allow me.
It's a conscious decoupling.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, the show has changed. We just haven't outwardly made any public adjustments, say with our how we describe the show. Our
Sure. So
intros.
somebody coming to the show, reading the description on the site, and then listening to an episode, there might be a little bit of I'm not sure how to put it, but a bit of a break for them because they're not getting maybe what they expected based on the way that we have marketed the show and positioned the show.
Right. So what are we going to do about it? Are we telling people that yet? Or are we just saying, stay tuned?
I think it's worth at least talking about because I think we have the general nucleus of the idea, but I don't know how far, I don't know that we've really nailed it yet.
Let's see.
So maybe we can do a little bit of a brainstorm sesh.
I feel like I nailed it.
That you nailed the nucleus, but I think that there are other bits around this atom here that we need to worry about the electrons and the neutrons and all these different trons, you know?
Can't trust an electron. Always changing. Always moving up and down.
Science humor.
Yeah.
The best kind.
Just go watch Cosmos.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what everyone should do instead of listening to our podcast. If you haven't watched Cosmos, but you are listening to us, I think you've made a grave mistake.
New Cosmos or old Cosmos?
Either.
Okay. I've seen old Cosmos.
Oh, the new stuff is really good. What are you drinking today, by the way?
I am pounding back tea because my throat hurts.
What kind of tea?
So this is, oh God, I'm going to sound pretentious, but hey, I like that. So whatever. This is a 2013 Taiwanese high mountain spring oolong that I've had since last year. I got it at a tiny shop in Chinatown, indeed, and am only just now finishing. I think I have probably one more go around.
Now, is it still good a year later?
Yeah, it's great. I don't know if it's quite as good as it was when I got it, but it's still like it works really well. The problem with a tea, oolong tea in particular, it lasts really long. And by what I mean by that is like with a black tea, you make a cup of tea and you throw out your tea leaves. If you want to make another, you get a new batch of tea leaves. With this oolong, you can get anywhere between 5 and 10 steeps out of it. So it can last you all day if you're playing your cards right, which is why it takes me so much longer to get through.
Now, is the second cup of tea after, is the second steep better than a first steep?
It depends who you ask. I don't have the greatest taste senses in the world. So to me, it's pretty much identical. But there are people who will swear that you need to give it time for the leaves to open up and this and that and the other thing. And I just don't have that refined a palate. So I can't. Yeah,
I can imagine someone saying that first steep is a little bitter because something it needs.
And I would definitely say
a pre-soak.
I would say it mellows out the longer you use it, but I don't know if that's a taste thing or, I mean, I guess it's intricately connected, but because you used all of the flavor in the first couple of steeps that as you get later, there's kind of nothing left. But I don't really know. I don't ask questions when it comes to this stuff. What about you? What are you drinking?
I am drinking a vodka soda. Just keeping it cash. It's a good Sunday lunchtime drink.
Sure. I will take your word for it.
Super breezy. But anyway, back to changing the show up. Like, let's give them a preview. Should we of what is the nucleus?
I think you came up with it, so I'm going to let you.
Okay, so most of the questions that we've gotten, and certainly I think much of our audience is going towards either entrepreneurs or artists who are looking to turn a passion into, if not a career in all cases, but certainly in some, then at least something they can make money from.
Can we call them artistpreneurs?
Yep.
Awesome.
Entrepreneurs.
Mine's better.
Artipreneurs.
Not quite.
Artisanalists.
We'll workshop that bit.
Yeah. Anyway, leave a note in the comments. So anyway, do we have comments on the...
We certainly do.
Has anyone ever?
I think maybe twice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what we want to do is more outwardly reflect that our show is really about people who have hobbies, have passions, have art, have, a job that they like but want to do better at. Much of the advice we've been giving out is how you can make money doing what you love. So we haven't nailed exactly what the elevator pitch for the show is, or even how much of the show would need to change from a branding perspective. But that's where we're at. And we would certainly love to get your feedback on that if you think that's a good idea. But even the question we're going to address today is kind of in that vein. And obviously the questions from Oz recently, and many of the questions about people who have this great business idea that they're passionate about, how do I make it a success, is more about making your dreams come true than it is how to market my small business.
Which that's the bit that annoys me, making dreams come true.
That's not the final language. You're clienting all over this. Don't attach to one phrase you don't like.
No, I think this is a great thing because I think it's something that we've already kind of done on the show already.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think the show itself will be that much different from what you're listening to.
I don't think the show needs to change that much at all.
Yeah, I think we'll give it a new intro.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really.
But I think the title works better now.
Yeah. I think really this is more about the way that we position the show.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to change the name of the show. We're not really going to change the content of the show other than sort of the pretty bits, the music or whatnot. But I think in a way, everything else will change.
Mm-hmm.
The text on the website, the design of the website, going to look at a new logo. So all of these different bits are going to be changing, but really it's going to be the same show that if you've been listening with us this much, it's the same show that you know and love. And I also think it's going to give us a good opportunity to get more fans, more listeners. We haven't really.
The show is going to be for people who don't want to have a real job.
Which is most people.
Exactly.
Our numbers have been declining over the past couple months. We haven't really talked about it on the show, but you can always find our monthly reports on the website, notarealjob.com. And I think that could be due to a number of things. It could be the content not matching the promise. It could be any number of things. Podcasts are time consuming and hard to, listen to too many at a time. But I think changing the direction of the show is going to give us an opportunity to sort of restart and reboot and get fans who are in with the ideas that we're talking about from day one.
Yeah, and I think as long as I keep up doing kind of ad-libbed interstitial music, that's probably going to turn the ship around a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's kind of what people are here for.
I think so. Is me singing. That's what everyone...
Joel Kelly Chanteuse.
Chanteuse?
I think that's how you say it.
Huh.
I don't know.
Are you thinking of chartreuse? Which
no.
I believe is a color.
That is a color. That's true. Hold on. I'm going to Google this.
Mm-hmm.
I've already been wrong once.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for admitting it.
A chanteuse is a female singer of popular songs, especially in a nightclub.
Perfect. Nailed it.
Perfect. You do have lots of cabarets up there in Halifax. So.
We do have that, yeah. As I explained to you, you have to have a cabaret license for your bar to stay open late.
Can you qualify late?
Oh, until 3, I believe.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I know. Small towns. Small towns. And so what will happen is if a new bar opens up in, say, an area where old people live, and I define old people as anyone who complains to city council about a new business opening up, they really try to stop them from getting their licenses they need.
Interesting.
Yeah. Super, super great town for
NIMBYism.
For NIMBYism, exactly, yeah. And now NIMBYs are little fairies that tried to stop construction in... What was that movie? It was what Avatar was based off of.
Oh, Ferngully.
Ferngully, yes.
Yes.
We have a lot of Ferngullies here.
Sure. That's a different thing, but that's okay. Question. So I guess to quickly wrap up, that's what we're talking about. Leave a note in the comments or shoot us an email or on Twitter, whatever, smoke signals, we'll find them. We want to know what you think about this plan.
Skywriting.
Yes. Oh man, I saw some skywriting recently. It was
I've never seen skywriting in real life.
It's pretty cool.
Huh. Should we make the podcast about skywriting?
Well, I mean, the only issue there is that then we're, I mean, it's all chemtrails all the way down. So then we risk becoming, a paranoia conspiracy podcast.
I think I could go down that way.
It could be fun.
I mean, I sometimes I do consider going conspiracy theory direction because it seems like there's money in it. And obviously the people currently advocating for like chemtrail awareness are obviously the dumbest in the world. So I feel like having half a brain,
more likely to pay us money.
A lot of money.
I do have to say,
becoming a conspiracy theorist.
There is a child in me that certainly wishes conspiracies were real. And I love like conspiracy movies and things like that. But wow, chemtrails, really, guys?
Yeah, exactly. Let's not say conspiracies don't exist. People conspire all the time, but use
the fun ones.
Use your noggin. Yeah.
Like the Da Vinci Code. That's a conspiracy right there.
Absolutely. I mean, how Tom Hanks was clearly blackmailed into starring in several Dan Brown related movies. That's conspiracy.
How did
I
want
to
know
that.
Yeah.
I assume this was a vast conspiracy, Illuminati.
Pretty much. I think
maybe that's what the chemtrails are for, is just to alter the mind of Tom Hanks.
Huh. Tom Hanks targeted chemtrails.
Ugh.
Interesting.
I'd target him with a chemtrail, if you know what I mean.
He was actually in the area recently filming a movie, and I didn't see him, but I saw the set. So.
Dan Brown biopic?
No, it was a Steven Spielberg war flick.
Ooh, Steven Spielberg.
Indeed.
Doing a war movie for once.
I know. Shocker.
It's exciting.
It's a big break for him.
You would think after War of the Worlds, we would be done. Like, okay, we did it. All wars.
I mean, this one we're revisiting the 50s. We're back in time a little
bit.
There
were no wars in the 50s.
I don't know.
I don't know.
The chemtrails have affected me, I guess. All right.
Yeah, exactly. We've always been at war with Oceania.
That's the problem with living so close to LaGuardia. All the chemtrails.
Yep.
Anywho.
Yep. That's everyone in New York.
Yeah.
We're brainwashed.
We're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Question. We got a question.
Are you asking me to?
No, I'm going to.
I have a question. I have a question for you, Chris.
Uh-oh. Where are we going with this?
We're not going anywhere. I had no follow-up bit to that.
Well, I do have a question. And this comes
here's my question, Chris.
Uh-oh.
Why didn't you let me do my interstitial music?
I think we want to save that after the rebrand.
Questions.
Okay, questions. This comes from a longtime fan of the show, Manuel, who I am going to quickly point out, he has left a very nice review of the show on iTunes. I think we talked about it when he did it. But that makes him better than 90% of you. So if you want to catch up with him and be just as awesome, notarealjob.com/iTunes will take you to our page.
Make sure you read his entire question, even the part of it that's not a question.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So this comes from Manuel. He sent this almost a month ago. Sorry for the delay.
Whoopsie.
But we had other stuff to talk about.
I got married.
Joel got married. That's a big deal. So he sent this over in email, I believe. He sent it via the show website, and we got it in email. I'm not exactly sure. Cut that part out.
What? How is that relevant? Steve, do not cut it out, please.
Okay, to cut to the chase. He writes, I almost feel bad when you guys don't get questions, but you always manage to come up with great stuff anyway, and I really like it.
Thanks, Manuel. I wish the rest of you people out there, we need a nickname for our audience. Back to Work has jackals, so maybe we can have like Nargers.
We'll work on that.
Oh man, episode 1 we tried to figure out what the name of our audience was.
It's a long-standing
Is that
problem.
why our listenership is declining? Because they don't feel like a relationship to us because we don't have a name for them?
It could be. Write in your suggestions.
I'm going to say Nargers.
Sure. So Manuel continues, the Apple stuff was very interesting, and I agree with almost all of it, except that I did like the size of the 6, but not the 6 Plus. That's just crazy.
Agreed.
After all my rambling, all 2 sentences.
That wasn't that much, Manuel. Have you heard the show?
Yeah. It's the ramble cast, basically.
Yeah.
I actually just thought of a question. You guys both seem to be fairly successful. Debatable.
It's working. We're convincing them.
So is there anything that you would have liked to know when you were just starting out? Just some pointers that you would give someone just starting to work. Interesting question.
Yeah. Okay. The advice, I'll run through my bulleted list of advice I give people who ask me, like career advice or success advice. Number one is know a thing. Know one thing that other people don't know as well as you do, at least in your industry or your geography. So when I got started in advertising world, which I realize is getting dangerously close to being a decade in advertising, which is why I am the cynical husk of a man that I am today. It's really, I knew a couple things better than the other people in my agency or in my industry. So I was doing online media buying and planning at my first agency job, but I was also the guy who was exploring the emergence of social media and more interactive technologies. And I was a writer. So it was, while my job was really just, math and numbers and buying media online, I had a perspective that was unique. And I was able to position myself that's the reason I'm not still doing that job today, buying display ads, which that's a dying industry if there ever was one. You could still be in that position if you didn't have a unique perspective to kind of move around. So that's one big thing, is don't ever let your job title or what you do right now fence in the way you think. No other things. The other thing, everything is who you know, so make lots of connections. If I Google a person, either a prospective employee or, anyone I'm interested, there should be some sort of content online that they've produced that's interesting. And be a good writer. That's been my key to success in every element of my job. If you can write, you can think, and people will appreciate the way you think because you can communicate it well. It doesn't, being the smartest person in the world, if you can't communicate those thoughts in clear, simple language, then no one's ever going to know you're smart. That will make you successful. And also just give a crap about what you're doing, even if you have to fake it. Attempt to be passionate, let people see your excitement, and you'll go farther than someone who is really good but seems bored. That's a couple things.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like that. Good stuff.
Thanks, Chris.
Keep on keeping on, Joel. You're doing great. So I guess I'll approach this question more from the self-employed entrepreneurial type, I guess. Because I think all of Joel's points are great and apply really well to all people, but maybe more specifically toward people in traditional careers. But if you're more interested,
you don't kind of have to be a jerk about it.
Oh, I'm not trying to be.
It sounds like a little bit like you're like, okay, Joel knows what to do if you're
a corporate square.
If you're a corporate square who's going to let a third of your paycheck go to the man and just kind of toil away in an office until one day you die.
Drone.
Yeah. You ever see that movie Office Space?
Never heard of it.
No? It's created by a man called Ashley Judd. Mike Judge.
Close. Got it in two. So the thing that
I'm going to interrupt you probably every time you start talking.
That's all right. I'm used to it.
Actually, I'm going to pour myself a drink, so you say whatever you're going to say, and then I'll jump back in and bring the goofs once people are done with whatever you're going to talk about.
The thing that I wish that I knew was the importance of confidence. Especially as somebody, if you're a solo small business owner, especially, like, you're sort of putting yourself on the line anytime you work with a client or a potential customer. And it's very easy to fall into the trap of, like, you're so sort of desperate for work and not really too sure about yourself, especially if you are new to the business or whatever your field is. It can be very easy to let a lack of confidence lead to less pay. So you'll take a lower rate because you're just not sure if your stuff is any good. It can lead to strained communications with clients because you're having a hard time being confident in the ideas that you have and articulating those ideas. So I think, I'm not saying confidence in the sort of the annoying kind of confidence where you just sort of, that might be associated with somebody who works in finance or something like that, where you're kind of have this frustratingly masculine sort of alpha male type confidence and belief in yourself. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
that
not saying
confidence is gross and ideally going to be less and less effective.
Yeah, that's not the kind of confidence that I'm talking about. I'm talking about sort of a quiet, deeply instilled belief that you know what you're doing, and if you don't know what you're doing, then you will be able to figure out what you're doing, and that you are the best person to serve a client or a customer. Because I think, certainly myself, that's been a big challenge is, consistently believing in myself and charging the prices that I'm worth and that kind of thing. And I think it all stems from confidence. So really work to have confidence and believe in yourself and know that, sure, you can compete on price and all these things, but the more confident you are and the less that you fall into those traps, the more successful you'll be over the long term.
I wonder if even it's a bit less of confidence, and a word that I like to use a lot, either when I'm seeking, a freelancer to work with or an employee to work with, or even just someone, a friend that I respect. The word I find myself going back to is bravery.
Mm-hmm.
Is the idea willing to take risks and willing to take chances and willing to make mistakes
and get messy.
And is a very compelling. I think like the first employee I hired, Jill, who is just an incredible genius. One of the things that struck me about her initially was her bravery. Like, she has stories about, when she was in journalism school, she lived for a month in South Africa interning at a fashion magazine. When that's a brave. And while she was there, she also did the very famous bungee jumping off of a bridge there. Like, there's just, that has what sounds like nothing to do with a job, but that personality of being brave, putting yourself out there and trying something and being willing to risk a lot to succeed is incredibly compelling. And each of my team members have a similar story, that made hiring them so much easier to do, because I knew that they were willing to take risks and they wouldn't get scared when things got difficult, because they've already shown that in their lives they're brave people. So I think what's a key to success? The willingness to fail and try.
And just to sort of piggyback on what you're saying, I don't think you're saying like you don't need to go bungee jump off.
No, of course, that's just a convenient story.
Yeah. It's not about feats of physical courage or whatever, but it's
yes, of course. I apologize if that's how that came out.
Because I am never going to jump off a bridge. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think having that.
But you also did move to New York City, and
yeah,
you've
exactly
shown some sort of willingness to take chances in an effort to be successful.
Yeah,
you can feel when you talk to someone, you can feel whether they're trying to be safe or not. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So I think that maybe not very specific things, but I think those are things that I think we both agree that all of the things we just mentioned are super important when you're just starting out. Even if you don't necessarily have that bravery at this point, or whatever the case is, knowing what you need to work toward, I think is super valuable.
And I do want to color everything we've said with the fact that Chris and I, just to not be too normative, we are both straight white men. So everything we say is colored with the idea that we obviously have it easier than literally everyone else. So to anyone who's listening and is going, well, that's easy for these guys. Yeah, you're right. But I do think some of the points of bravery, and especially like getting to know people who can be useful, is huge. And I mean, and this is the lesson to, I think, other straight white men out there who are in a position to hire or in a position to help people, is get outside of your own community. Don't keep hiring the same people. Try to get out there, look for people who are demonstrating all those qualities that you look for in an employee who might not look exactly like you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's certainly easy to fall into the trap of straight white men hiring straight white men because they see themselves in that person, and it's easier to see those qualities in somebody that is similar to them, but that doesn't help anyone in the long term.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it's our literally the least we can possibly do is make that point, that we at least acknowledge that things are easier for us as a result. There was another thing I wanted to talk about related to Manuel's thing, but I've lost it, so let's not waste time as I attempt to remember. But let's move on.
Sure.
To, hopefully that was useful, Manuel. Please, you've been an incredibly dedicated fan, and we really appreciate you asking questions. So tell your friends. I wanted to give an update on my book. Can I do that?
Please. No, Joel. After all these episodes, I'm putting my foot down.
Do you mind giving me a little bit of interstitial music?
Yeah, actually, I do mind.
Just, oh, come on. Just a bit.
I'm sick. That's going to be my excuse. Could do your own.
But that seems lame. Steve, just a little bit of I'll give you a window. Let's say 10 seconds. Steve's going to drop in a bit of music, and it'll be for the book update, and it's going to go right now. Now, Chris, what I need you to not do is email Steve and insist that he not put anything there.
I do not interfere with your sound effecting. As long as you are paying the bill for the editing, I feel that it is not my place to jump in.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Anyway, so I had some communication with Inkshares, the crowdsourced publisher that is publishing my book. And I really just wanted to say how thrilled and grateful I am. I know there was a few Narshcast fans who donated to it. There was definitely a lot of other listeners and some of my friends who donated, and things are going super, super well. So I submitted my first draft last week, as we talked about on the show, and not really big news, but we're really deeply considering making it a series, which is exciting.
Huh.
Yeah, the publisher read it and basically said there's room here for more stories, and maybe we should do more than one. So my plan right now is we're going to get this ebook out probably before the holidays is still what we're thinking. December 10th is a tentative date for this first ebook. And then my plan is to write 2 more ebooks, and then we'll finally I'll probably have to crowdsource a little bit more, but getting those 3 ebooks put into a print run as one complete 3-part novel. So I thought that was cool.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm really excited about that. It's great that so far people who have read it have liked it. So yeah, I'm excited.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to reading beyond the snippet that was shown on the site.
Have I not sent you the first draft?
No.
Oh, I feel bad. I always send you. That's how our relationship started, Chris. Was I would always send you my stuff and insist that you read it. But
if you're not me, there is a free. I believe it's free for anyone, whether they gave money for it or not.
Correct.
So definitely go check that out, and we will put the link in the show notes at notarealjob.com/episode-63. So you can go check that out. And hey, if you like what you read there, and if you haven't pre-ordered it, you can still do that, right?
Yes, absolutely. You can pre-order it. So the pricing is pretty basic. You get 1 copy of the ebook for $10, or you can get 3 for $20.10. So basic stuff. I'm putting the link in the show notes right here. And my plan is to share a new excerpt every week until the book comes out.
Awesome.
So I'll be sharing another excerpt, let's say Wednesday when the show comes out. So by the time you listen to this, there will be another excerpt up.
Perfect.
On the site. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that. Things are looking good. It's fun to have. This is interesting. Our show is so much about, making the dream life of your dreams come true. If you have, I'm going to put Gabe and Max in the show notes too. But I think some of my success has come from having another hobby / potential one day side, second job. And I wonder if part of, if you want to be successful at your current job, is having another thing that you can pour a lot of your passion into. And it makes both of those things better. I'm more passionate than my day job because I write when I'm not at work, and, you know, I'm getting better at being a writer. And, you know, so much of my day job is writing too. Like, there's definitely, my friend Ross Simmons is always going on about the importance of having a side hustle. And I think I'll link to one of his posts about that too. And I think, you know, there's a lot to be said for all parts of your life getting better if you have a lot of different projects going on at once. So you can always, you know, switch to something else in your mind if one thing is tiring you out. So just to get back to our how to be successful, I think part of it is always having multiple things in your head at once that you can always kind of switch around and, you know, pour your passion into different buckets is a phrase I almost said without appreciating how dumb it sounded.
That is not going to be the subtitle of the new show.
Not a real job. How to pour your passion into different buckets with Chris and Joel.
You can take my name off of that.
With Joel. I almost said just with Chris. And I was like, that's not my name. That's your name.
Close enough.
Do you feel like we're becoming one person, Chris?
I mean, it's been inevitable for a long time.
Yeah. We're starting to look alike.
I'm still half your size, maybe. But other than that.
Oh, so you haven't been getting bigger. Okay, because I've just been getting bigger. Oh, okay. I thought we were going to meet in the middle. And by meet in the middle, I mean, I thought you were going to catch up to where I am.
Yeah, because I don't see you getting shorter any day.
Oh, you almost said getting thinner, didn't you?
I did not.
Oh.
I deny that. So this has been our stupid podcast.
Let's do tech recos.
Yeah, so why don't you go first?
We'll call them... Oh, okay, so a couple other things we need your comments on. I'm insisting that Chris and I need nicknames. So...
I am decidedly less convinced.
He's against it, but that doesn't matter. So we need nicknames. We need names for our fans. So again, I'll just email it something like questions@notarealjob.com. Anyway, tech recommendations, which I'm calling tech recommendations. Techos.
We haven't always done tech, though. We've done some books and some other things. So I don't know. I'm not convinced.
Well, okay.
But anyway, so this is the segment of the show where we tell you about cool stuff that we like to buy on Amazon.
Cool stuff that we like to buy on Amazon.
Great. Awesome.
See, that would have been better if it was techos.
Sure.
Just
we'll let you all vote
putting
on
it out
that.
there.
And so what we do is every week we pick one or two things that we have bought on Amazon that we really like. And then we put the links to those things in the show notes and also at notarealjob.com/gear. And if you click through those links, they've got little referral tags on them. So we get like a 0.something% of your purchase.
Nice.
Which is not much, but it's super helpful and it takes a little bit of the burden off.
Yeah, but if each one of our listeners bought $2,000 to $3,000 worth of gear each week,
then we'd be golden.
We'd make $200 to $300 each year.
Yeah. So it's a start. It's something. So what are you putting in on the gear page this week, Joel? What are you putting in your bucket?
I am pouring my passion into the R2D2 interactive astromech droid bucket.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So Chris, you saw it, of course, when it was in its powered off in the box stage.
Oh, I've seen it powered on. I follow your Instagram.
Oh, okay. So
and it's pretty awesome.
It's fucking fantastic. It's the voice recognition is not perfect, and that, I mean, it's $160 toy. It's not Siri.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still pretty great. You say, "Hey, R2, game mode, dance program," and he dances around, or he'll play tag with you. So you say, "Hey, R2, light tag," and R2 turns around, counts down to 10, and then will come find you. Like, it's if you're getting a toy for, I'm gonna say, a child 12 and under, there is, I would insist there's probably no better toy in the world. It does take 8 batteries, 4 AA's and 4 D's.
Which was a bit of an issue.
Slight battery-ish. Got that solved, though. Of course, I got it for my friend Ben, who is, almost 30. And but it doesn't matter. Child at heart.
Absolutely.
Aren't we all? It was his groomsman gift from me to him. So it's fantastic. Seriously, $160 on Amazon. It's, if you have money to blow, this is where you should spend it, because it's not big enough. This is my ongoing issue with R2D2 themed toys. Make it life size. It's not the Millennium Falcon. Like, you can make a droid that's closer to R2D2's real size. I want to be able to find Kenny Baker and get him to drive this thing around for me. But that was so terrible.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, wow.
Even,
you know what?
Even for you.
We got to leave that in because I'm going to need to pay the social penalty for that one. I can't get away with. Sorry, everyone. That was horrible. One of you laughed, though. I know it. And you don't get to be the one to complain. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's still like 14 inches off the ground. It's still pretty sweet.
Cool.
What are you doing?
I'm going to put in, I recently got speakers, which are pretty great. They're made by a company called Dayton Audio, and they're like bookshelf speakers with real speaker wire and everything. And then I also got an amp, the Li-Pi amp, the 2020A or something. And it's a pretty nice combination. I like listening to music a lot, and it's like $60 for the pair and infinitely better than MacBook speakers. I definitely, if you're in the market for a little bit of a hi-fi system and you don't have a lot of money, this is a great option to go with.
Speaking of Mac stuff, did you watch the keynote the other day?
I watched bits and pieces of it.
It was pretty neat.
Yeah.
They're trying to be too funny, but Craig Federighi is just so gosh darn charming.
Isn't he, though?
He's so my favorite. He can make dumb skits and calls with Stephen Colbert as much as he wants. I think he's just delightful. He's like the perfect dad joke guy.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was really interesting. Retina iMac. I mean, I posted this on Twitter. I think this basically solidifies we're going to see a real Apple television set this time next year.
Sure. It seems inevitable.
$2,000, 5K display with the Apple TV software all built into it. I mean, why not? That'll just run the show for the high-end TV market. No question.
Definitely.
So that's exciting. I'm excited because I was going to buy a TV this year because I was going to buy a PlayStation 4, which I still probably am. But now that this seems increasingly inevitable, I'm going to save that money and get myself a 35-inch 5K TV next year.
I like it.
Little treat for Joel.
Indeed. You've earned it.
I don't treat myself enough. I'm never buying things. You know this about me.
Oh, you never spend money. Very miserly, I believe, is the term.
Is that racist?
I don't think so.
Sounds anti-Semitic to me.
I guess
I'm trying to paint you into a corner because I made an incredibly normative anti-little person joke.
I'm gonna.
So I'm hoping that we can paint you as the anti-Semite.
It is purely a person who hoards wealth and spends as little money as possible. There is no further context, as much as you would like there to be.
Oh my God, does that make me the one who's anti-Semitic then too?
I think it does.
Crap. Sorry, everyone. This is how we're rebranding the show.
Joel is a racist.
Joel's, phobic of all types, I think. Yeah. Anyway, we should wrap this up before I
say any more crap.
Literally say anything else. I'm just going to hum quietly over here.
NotArealJob.com/iTunes is where you can leave a review. NotArealJob.com/questions is where you can send us a question. We need your questions. This was it this week. We are now all out. NotArealJob.com/gear is where you can find the Amazon products that we've mentioned on this and past episodes. Please support the show. And also find us on Twitter. Twitter.com/NarjCast is the show's account, NARJcast. And we are at Joel Kelly and at Chris Van Patten. You can find us there as well. Also Facebook, facebook.com/notarealjob. And that is all of the show.
Yeah, that was it. We nailed it.
Thanks so much for listening.
Best episode, probably.
We'll talk to you next week.
Bye forever.
Bye.
Psh. Housekeeping. Gear. Twitter.